and they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, and if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there.
Ludacris going in on the verse, cause I never been defeated and I won't stop now. Keep your hands up, get them in the sky for the homies that ain't making it, my folks locked down. I never went nowhere, what they saying Luda's back. Blame it on that contour, the hood call it Luda-yak. And I'm on this foolish track, so I spit my foolish flow. My hands go up and down, like strippers' booties go. My verses still be serving, tight like a million virgins. Last time on a college remix, now I'm on the original version. Can't never count me out, y'all better count me in. Got 20 bank accounts, accountants count me in. Make millions every year, the South's champion. Cause all I
This is Jeremy Sports Network coming to you live. Hey, you guys, we back. Immediate reaction right after this Super Bowl game with Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. And if we go back to the first episode of the JSN podcast, I had Atlanta losing to New England. I didn't give a score because I wasn't sure on what the score would be. But man, does this not mark down the greatest, maybe perhaps the greatest Super Bowl game ever played by Tom Brady? Or we could just say the best Super Bowl period. Because if you go back and look at this game, Tom Brady in the fourth quarter, we're going to get to Tom Brady's numbers in the fourth quarter later on in the show. And we're going to get to some callers later on in the show. But as of right now, I want to talk. First of all, before we even get ahead of ourselves, let's commend the Atlanta Falcons for making their way to the Super Bowl and playing a hell of a ball game, and to make a lot of fans in Boston nervous. Because we're not going to sit here and say that Atlanta was a cakewalk in order to win the Super Bowl. Atlanta came into the Super Bowl being one of the best teams that Tom Brady has ever faced going into this game. When you put up over 540 points in the regular season, excuse me, you're a threat. And they were a threat tonight, going up 25 points on New England, and New England battling back in order to win this ball game. And to me, it was very fascinating, because when I look at the first half of this game, right then and there, New England could have been defeated in the first half of this ball game, because if you go back and look at it, it kind of puts you in the remembrance of, if we go back to that Green Bay versus Atlanta game, where Atlanta was just looking very dominant. And if you look on, if we just looking with the eye test, the speed that Atlanta had, it made you feel like, okay, Atlanta can do whatever they want, when they want, how they want, because they're just fast. But if you guys tuned in into JSN podcast 2 episodes ago, you'll hear me when I said, well, if Tom Brady can control the clock and play Patriot football, the Patriots have no problem with winning this football game. We all know that it wasn't going to be a blowout. I did not expect it to be a blowout. I knew Atlanta was going to come with it. They were going to play hard and put themselves in position to win the game. Why? Because they've done it all year long. They had a regular season record of 11-5. They won an NFC championship game. They beat out Aaron Rodgers. They beat out Russell Wilson. They made it here to the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. Even though they lost, you have to tip your hat off to the Atlanta Falcons and everything it is that they brought until tonight. This is what the game is all about. This is why you play the game. We wanted a game like this, a Super Bowl matchup like this, where you have a high-powered offense going up against a veteran team, and you don't even know if the veteran team have what it takes in order to be down 25 points. Let's not get it twisted here. Tom Brady was down 25 points in the second half. Okay? In the second half, Tom Brady was down 25 points. But nobody's going to talk about that. Okay? They're not going to talk about him being down 25 points and winning this ball game against the best offense to ever touch the field, being the Atlanta Falcons. I think this offense with Atlanta was way better than our 2007 offense when we had Randy Moss at wide receiver. Let's not get it twisted here. Tom Brady is not going to get the credit that he deserves, being arguably the best quarterback to ever play this game, featured in 7 Super Bowls and winning 5 out of 7. He has to be the greatest of all time. But moving on from that, we're going to get to some callers. Like I said, as a matter of fact, we had a caller calling in right now. We're going to get to these callers because I want to get these Atlanta Falcons fans' perspective on how this game transpired. Because in the first half, you would think that Atlanta was going to dominate in the first half. I mean, you've seen it. They went up 14-0. New England was able to get the ball back and was able to erase that 0 in the second half. Now, I feel as though if Atlanta was to shut out New England in the first half, I don't think New England would win this ball game. But I think the fact that they were able to get points up on the board after the first half was a reason why they was able to get into this ball game. And being down 25 points again, like I said, you hats off to Tom Brady. But we're going to get to these callers. We have a caller on the line right now. So go ahead. Is this the first time caller calling in? Hello? Hello? All right. Well, I guess that was a Falcon fan who wasn't pretty much excited about that. But we're going to get to the post-game interviews. Right now, they're doing the Super Bowl trophy celebration. And I want to know, we already know hands down, with Tom Brady not winning the MVP of the National Football League, we knew he was going to win the Super Bowl MVP. And that matters most. Roger Goodell, where are you right now? Because this is the reason why Tom Brady took on a 4-game suspension and had a hell of a year this year, making it to the Super Bowl just so Roger Goodell can hand him that trophy. And that's the moment that I'm waiting on right now as a fan of the New England Patriots, is for Roger Goodell to hand Tom Brady this trophy. Because what Roger Goodell did to Tom Brady, we all know, was berserk. And the fact that Tom Brady went out this year and balled his ass off in order to win a Super Bowl against the best offense to ever touch the field, hands down, you have to give Tom Brady the best quarterback to ever play this game. I mean, this is awesome if you're a New England Patriot fan, because we knew a lot was riding on this game. We knew the hype that Atlanta was bringing into this game. It was so much hype to the point to where people were buying. I'm going down my Instagram. Matter of fact, it was early this morning. I'm going down my Instagram early this morning. It's about 5 this morning, and I see people already, that's Atlanta Falcons fans, got clothes out. Oh, this is what I'm wearing for the Super Bowl game. I'm like, really? They act like this is the fucking first day of school. They act like this is the first day of school because it was such a big game for them. And for them not having that experience, was a reason why they wasn't able to win this ball game, because it showed in the second half. You're up 25 points. You made a team one-dimensional now. You've made a team one-dimensional. All you have to do is stop the passing game. Stop Tom Brady. You have a very fast defense, although it's predicated upon 3 rookies. Although it's surrounded with 3 rookies, you have a reason on why. That was one of the callers right there trying to. They was just sitting. They on hold, I guess. But it's crazy to me, because now Roger Goodell, he's getting ready to speak. I want to hear what Roger has to say. Let's hear what Roger has to say. You hear a lot of fans booing Roger Goodell right now. I think Roger Goodell is full of shit. Let's just be honest. It eats him up inside to hand this trophy over to Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots. But let's tune in and see what Mr. Kraft has to say.
But I want to say to our fans, our brilliant coaching staff, our amazing players who are so spectacular, this is unequivocally the sweetest.
Robert Kraft knows Roger Goodell was full of shit. Let's just go ahead and be honest and call it for what it is. We now getting an interview for Coach Bill.
That would be you, my young man. Congratulations.
Thanks, Terry. But look, it's all about these players. We got great players. They're tough and they compete. We thought they competed for 60 minutes, but it took more tonight. You guys competed down 28-3. They never looked back.
That's what I was going to say. You went in at halftime. This football game was pretty much getting out of control. Both of you tried. Opening drives didn't score. They go down and score.
Roger Goodell has left the building, everybody. If you're tuning in today, if you're not watching the post game, after Roger Goodell gave his speech, he has now left the podium. Roger Goodell is nowhere to be found right now because he don't want no parts of what Tom Brady is and the fans are going to say to him. This is so surreal if you're a New England Patriots fan because of the year we had. Here's Tom.
Let me hand it to you. How sweet is that, Tom? The only four-time MVP, the only quarterback, the first quarterback to ever win 5 Super Bowls. This is not easy, Tom. Coming out in the second half, this just did not look like the same Patriot team we've seen all year. What turned it around? Was it the penalty, the holding call, the pass that was incomplete after the great catch by Jones, and all of a sudden, you go down and tie this thing up?
Well, there were a lot of plays that, Coach talks about. You never know which play it's going to be in the Super Bowl, and there was probably 30 of them tonight that if any one of those would have been different, the outcome could have been different. But I'm so proud of our guys, our coaches, the team. It was unbelievable, what these guys have accomplished all season. I'm just proud to, be a part of this great group.
Your father is here for the first time this year. Your mother, after illness for 18 months, Galen, she's here tonight. You dedicated this game to her. She has got to be beyond herself right now.
Yeah, they're all happy. So it's nice to have everybody here, and it's going to be a great celebration tonight. So thank you to all our fans, everyone back in Boston, New England. We love you. You've been with us all year. We're bringing this sucker home.
Tom Brady. And they're bringing James Lewis. James Conner.
That was Tom Brady giving his post-game interview. And if you're a New England Patriot fan, we dealt with a lot this year. We dealt with a lot given the fact that coming off of a Super Bowl win, a AFC Championship loss to the Denver Broncos, but a year before that, we was coming off a Super Bowl win against the Seattle Seahawks. And when we played Seattle, a lot of people was talking about the simple fact that, oh well, Tom Brady, you know, he deflates footballs and he's a cheater. He really doesn't play the game with integrity in the way that the game should be played. So you should put asterisks, you know, to the name of Tom Brady. And for people to say that, that's just god awful disrespectful, because when we played against Seattle, Tom Brady, I believe his numbers in that fourth quarter with non-deflated footballs was 12 or 14 with 100 and something yards and 2 touchdowns against the Legion of Boom defense. That was hands down one of the best defenses. Dan Quinn, if I should say, defense going up against Tom Brady. Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. He was the defensive coordinator for Seattle when we played them in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. But the thing is now, what was the difference in this game that propelled New England to victory? Because we can all sit here and say, now I'm honestly going to sit here and give you guys the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to be biased given the fact that I am a New England Patriot fan. Let's just say when we went down 14-0 to Atlanta, you felt as though, okay, it's about to start. Because we saw what happened to how they got off on a fast start against Green Bay, and the speed. If you're watching the game, and that's what a lot of people don't do. See, while I was watching the game, I had to step aside and step back and look at the game without sound. And when you look at the game without sound, you see on the field a lot of things that you don't see when you're watching the game with sound. And I learned that from boxing. When I watch the game without sound, when I'm watching this football game without sound, what I see is a very fast, athletic Atlanta team. They're very quick, they're fast, and their speed became their enemy. Because based upon how fast Atlanta was, they lacked so much experience in the big game, and it showed having going up 25 points against a veteran quarterback when all you had to do was play keep away and control the football. You couldn't do that. You were up 25 points and you're still trying to throw the football when all you had to do was run with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Even though Tevin Coleman was injured in the game, but you still had an opportunity to run the football and control the clock if you're the Atlanta Falcons. You're up 25 points in the second half. How do you not win this ball game? We were down with we were going into the fourth quarter. I'm sitting here. I mean, this is an immediate reaction video. I don't have everything in front of me right now like I should have. What I will have for you guys on tomorrow, given the fact that this is an immediate reaction video. But I just want to go back and see if I can pull up what was the score in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter with about 8 minutes to go. I think Atlanta was up 28-13. 28-13 with about 8 minutes to go in the ball game. I'm thinking, okay, Atlanta's going to get the football. They're going to control the clock. And they're going to play keep away to keep Tom Brady off the field. You have the players in order to do it. First and second down, you run the ball with Devontae Freeman. Third and fourth down, if you have third down, throw the ball to either Mohamed Sanu or Julio Jones. That's it. But the fact that they couldn't get the ball to Julio at all, given the fact that Julio was covered by Logan Ryan with Devin McCourty over the top, like I told you guys it was going to be, Julio still was able to have a good game, but Julio wasn't as effective as we thought he was going to be in this ball game. Everybody made plays for Atlanta who was supposed to make plays. But Atlanta gave us everything it was that they had, and there was nothing else for them to show. Like I said, it's just like the NFC Championship team from last year. The Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers from last year did the same thing that Atlanta did this year. They put up great numbers offensively, but when the time came down, when push come to shove, is your experience going to override you, or is it going to be your skill? And tonight it showed again that experience is going to override you. Last year it was Peyton Manning beating Cam Newton. And this year it was Tom Brady beating Matt Ryan. But let's listen in to Dan Quinn and see what it is that Dan Quinn has to say. Much respects to Dan Quinn.
We come down at the end, and it did. Two good teams battling for it. So, we knew what they were capable of as well.
What did they do that you guys couldn't stop?
Well, I don't know if it was one thing, obviously that would have taken place, but honestly, just making plays, Aaron. That was, we got to tip our hat off to them. We thought it was going to be about the ball. It came down at the end, and they had a turnover that was, a key factor for sure. But for us, it wasn't one thing, we could have done to say this one thing we would do different. But we knew it was going to be a battle, and it for sure was. It was a fantastic game. Really proud of the way our guys battled and competed.
Thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate it.
Wow, I mean, I give respect to Dan Quinn because what he's doing in Atlanta, he's revamped the city. And not only has he revamped the city, but he brought something to this franchise and to the city of Atlanta that hasn't been here in a long time, since the Dirty Bird. When they had Jamal Lewis and those guys, I mean, Jamal Anderson, I mean. What Dan Quinn has done to the Atlanta Falcons that Mike Smith could not do, this can't be erased. The Atlanta Falcons aren't going anywhere. And I want Atlanta Falcons fans that who are tuning in and listening to know that you guys are not going anywhere. You have the ability to be back here next year in the Super Bowl. You have a young team. You have a very young roster. You have a proven quarterback who showed the world that he has what it takes in order to win football games. And he showed you guys this year, and he showed you in the Super Bowl. A lot of people say, well, we may need another quarterback because Matt Ryan still can't get the job. Get the job done. That's false. Matt Ryan, like I told you guys earlier, he doesn't owe Atlanta anything at all. Matt Ryan giving himself, improving himself, and showing himself worthy to be considered a top quarterback in this National Football League. But man, hands down to Tom Brady. I mean, this had to be one of the greatest fourth quarters I've ever seen Tom play since 2 years ago when we played in the Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks. That fourth quarter alone had to be, I was ranking that fourth quarter that Tom had as one of the greatest fourth quarters ever. But man, from the fourth quarter on, the Patriots outscored the Falcons 25-0 and just changed the whole ball game. You would think that the game would have been over given the fact that LeGarrette Blount, with the LeGarrette Blount fumble, with that turnover, with Tom Brady pick 6 to Robert Alford, you're thinking to yourself, man, this has to be one of the worst games ever that we played this year, all year long. I watched both teams all year long. I've watched both teams all year long. And when I watched New England play this year, I saw a lot of teams say, well, they haven't played an offense like Atlanta. You're right. We didn't play an offense like Atlanta. But what we did have was a defense who showed themselves worthy and showed themselves proven. Even though they gave up some points, but let's not get it twisted here. We had a lot of 4 and outs in this ball game as well. And on top of those 4 and outs, we had 2 turnovers. And those 2 turnovers cost us mightily and had us down 25 points against a high-powered offense in Atlanta. But the difference in this game, with Atlanta going up 25 points on us, and not more so what they did against Green Bay. Green Bay wasn't healthy enough in order to stage a comeback like we did. Tom Brady was able to dink and dunk the ball to whoever he needed to in order to make things happen. So if you guys just tuning in, Tom Brady remains a legend. The Patriots quarterback led New England all the way back from a second half 25-point deficit to win his 5th Super Bowl and his 4th Super Bowl MVP. Man, if you could put a stamp on your career, given the fact that this is perhaps probably the best game, the best Super Bowl I have seen in a while. Man, where do you mark Tom Brady in the books? Does this now put him past Joe Montana? I'm going to do a show tomorrow, and we're going to talk about Tom Brady, Joe Montana, who's the greatest. Because right now I have an argument for Tom Brady's case that's going to propel him over Joe Montana. But I'm going to wait until tomorrow. I'm not going to dive into that right now today. But we're going to wait until that tomorrow. But man, shots out to New England, all of Pat Nation. Everybody who has tuned in, who was able to go to Houston and enjoy this football game, man. Shouts out to the Atlanta Falcons fans. You guys showed up in numbers. You had a great year this year. Don't get me wrong. Atlanta played a hell of a ball game. And you can't help but respect the fact that Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff put together a really good football team that you can see making their way back to the Super Bowl again next year. Right now, if it was up to me, I have these same two teams probably playing in the Super Bowl again next year. Because I don't see anybody beating Atlanta Falcons. Julio Jones is going to have a stellar year again next year. I see Matt Ryan, who came into his own this year. I see him doing the same thing again next year with Devontae Freeman and those boys, Tevin Coleman, Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel. They have a stacked offense with a great young defense and a young core who gained experience from this game. All it takes is experience. It's not so much that, oh, well, Atlanta lost this game. I don't look at it like, oh, Atlanta lost, I'm glad that they lost. I don't look at it like that. What I look at it as, they now gained experience now in this game. They've been to the big game, even though they lost in the Super Bowl, but they now have gained experience, so they know what it's like to lose the big one. So imagine once Atlanta make it back next year, it could be a different outcome. But that remains to be seen. Right now, you have the best coach in the game in Bill Belichick, and you have the best quarterback in the game in Tom Brady, who by far, I mean, words cannot explain the fact that Tom Brady, to me, I mean, hands down, I've never seen anything like it. I'm about to be 30 years old, and I've seen, a number of good quarterbacks throughout my day, from Brett Favre to, watching a little bit of Steve Young, just some of everybody who was around my era, seeing those guys and seeing Tom Brady play. I mean, it's almost surreal to me. I mean, I put him in the same category as Kobe Bryant. He has 5 rings like Kobe. But people hate the fact that I love greatness, and greatness is something that I do cheer for and root for, because you can't stop what's good. Somebody who is truthful, who's honest, who's loyal to the game, and people try their best to find everything negative to say about them. You can't help but respect everything about Tom Brady. And let's be real. Brady bounced back from a poor first half, during which he threw his first possession pick 6 to lead New England to the 4th second half scoring drive, including 2 touchdowns marches in the fourth quarter. But after the Patriots won the overtime toss, Brady led the game-winning 8-play drive capped by a 2-yard James White score. Now, it took them 8 plays, and that's the thing. I knew hands down once this game was going into overtime, I told myself, I said, it's either going to be 2 things that happen. Atlanta's going to get the ball first. They're going to win the toss. They're going to get the ball first, drive the ball down the field, and end up kicking a field goal, giving Tom Brady another opportunity to go down and drive the field and score a touchdown. Or New England was going to receive the ball first and drive the ball down the field and score a touchdown. Well, it took them 8 plays, and they did just that, and they scored a touchdown. Like I said, this is an immediate reaction video. I'm sorry, you guys, everything is not as good as I want it to be, but this is an immediate reaction video, raw and uncut. But thank you guys for tuning in to Jeremy Sports Network. We will have another show for you guys in store for you tomorrow. I'm out.